welcome. Listen, guys, we're gonna give about 5 minutes to let people get into the live stream. You know what I'm saying? I didn't plan this live stream, but I was talking with my brother and was just like, yo, let's just hop on the sticks real quick and let's just have a clear and consistent conversation. And so you guys know, I was just in Miami not too long ago. The man that you see to the right, am I pointing the right way? The person that you see over there, that's my man's right there. If you could introduce yourself real quick, my G.
Yeah, how y'all doing, man? It's Sean, living in Philly, man. Been knowing this guy John for times, my guy, my brother. So thought it'd be good to have a conversation and support his channel.
Word. Listen, so like Sean and I go, it's been like a decade, bro. It's been like a decade. Yeah, it's been like a decade. So listen, we got stories of days. Like when you guys see, like I'm on trips and shit like that. Like, you know, I was in Thailand a couple of years ago, when I was in Berlin and Barcelona, when I was in Miami, you know what I'm saying? The last 2 weeks ago, Vancouver. Seattle. Yeah, we go all Mexico, like we go wherever. You know what I'm saying? So like it's a you know, it's one of those types of friendships. So a lot of the things that like I talk about on the channel, you know what I'm saying, it's like things that I would talk about with him. So I feel like we're about to have a very clear and coherent conversation. But let me just get back into the chat real quick. Yeah, what up, Everett? I see you. James, what up? Got the do-rag on like he trying to get waves. What you
ain't got no wave. Ain't got no wave, man.
What you know? Listen, hold up. I got that good grade of hair. Sean, you got that real bad shit. So good. Solo TV, keep grinding my dude. $5 super chat. Let's get it. I need those photography tips. Yo, Solo, I bangs with you, my bro. Yo, also Solo.
Yes. And this dude picked up the camera, and we can't even take regular photos no more. This dude is critiquing the photos. We getting the group stuff. He snatched my camera out of my hand.
Listen,
won't let me. Yo, it's serious. Don't gas him, Solo.
Listen. No, Solo, gas me, please. No, I'm joking with you. Listen, man. I'm gonna do an entire video on that shit. Like the amount of volume that now comes in because either they want to do a video or take photos. Like it's interesting. Reason why I have Sean up here, I think that is very important. And actually, when we was in Miami, I wanted to have this conversation with you, bro. Actually, we did have the conversation for like a little bit. And when we was having it, I was like, yo, we gotta do this for the camera, but you know, we got busy and shit. But you know, I was raised by a single father. You were raised by a single mother. So I wanted to have this conversation to talk about the differences of the two and get into more in depth about our experiences. I think it'd be great conversation for the people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right. So listen. So let's just start the conversation. So again, Sean, thank you for joining, bro. The reason why I wanted to have this conversation again is I think it's so important to be able to talk about, you know, the differences because you know we see so many examples of you know, people who look like us that absorb information from this world really different. And I think a lot of that difference is predicated on their upbringing, right, bro? So, you know, as I talked about before, I was raised by a single father, and I think that's had a particular impact on my life. I mean, you know, my pops, you was raised by a single mother. I think that's had a particular impact on your life, and I know your mom's. Right. So I just wanted to have this conversation about that. All right. So from your experience, bro, you know what I'm saying? If you could talk about what you feel are some of the main differences being a Black man, being raised by a strong Black mother.
Yeah. Now I think when I think about like just single parenting, I think that it's a difference. Like number one, I want to make sure that we separate and we understand that it's not a monolithic group just because you say you're a single parent, right? There's single parents who are independent and strong. Mm-hmm. There's single parents who are strong but needy. There's single parents who are weak, needy, and whatever. You know what I mean? So I think that there's some caveats between all those groups.
Right.
My mother, no gas, like she's strong, independent. You know what I mean? And I would say probably one of the main things that she taught into me or instilled into me was true independence. Like I think that some of it almost comes to a fault um, where it's believing in yourself and not needing someone else to validate you. That's something that was always taught to me by her. And so I always stood on my own too, right? Like you'll never hear me saying I need a woman so she can cook for me, because at the end of the day, I'm cooking for myself. I don't need you to cook for me. I don't need that from you.
Right.
And the same thing with my mother. Like I saw her live in real life that same type of mindset, right? I don't need no dude to take care of me. I got my own job. I got my own career. I'll take care of my kids by myself. It's not like I had my father died. It's not like I had like a tragedy where it's, parents are beefed out and they divorced or something like that, or my father wasn't around.
Right.
But I never saw my mother like searching for that individual to help complete her. She took on the role as the leader of the family. We also had her aunt, which would be my great aunt, which is almost like a grandmother. Me, my sister, and her. My mother took care of everyone. You know what I mean? So I saw that for all the years of my life. My father died when I was 8. So at least 10 years. I mean, 10 years and beyond. I've never seen her depend on anyone. So I think that that's something that was instilled in me. And then secondly, she's a firecracker. I'll be honest with you. She's a firecracker. And so one of the things that she also taught me, and that I think that like changes my mindset, is to always compete. Always compete. She put me in school, in a school, around white people, and she always wanted it to be known like nobody's better than you. You know what I mean? Nobody's better than you, and you always got to compete. And so with that mentality, I think one of the biggest things that I probably say is the difference between me and somebody else is like, I'm going to keep shaking the tree until I get what I want. Once I focus on what I want, I'm going to keep on getting it, no matter how many times I get knocked down, no matter how many times I get told no, no matter how many times it doesn't go the way I want it to go. I'm shaking it until I get what I want. I don't know. You tell me. You know me well enough, so.
I'm gonna throw up a comment on the screen real quick, because it's something that you did refer to, Sean, and it was, it's saying, she's a strong one. Your mom's a strong, independent woman, and you referenced that she allowed you to be, or she taught you independence, as well as she taught you the ability and the power of being able to compete. I think those were the two main points. Here's the mantra that you hear nowadays, and it's something that within the red pill community, you hear it talked about, and it's like the negative impact of a single mother on the mind of a young man. And you talk about very unique qualities that you were able to be instilled with, that I think has formed who you are today, right, as a strong dude. Talk about what that is. Like, from your perspective, what's the gap?
What do you mean?
Like, so your mother was able to do that within you, right? Is it a case of just mothers not having the knowledge that she had, or is it a case of you were kind of biologically set to be competitive, or you were biologically set to be independent? You know what I'm saying? Because quick pause. Listen, did you guys know that I had a Patreon page? What's Patreon, you say? Patreon is a fantastic service that gives content creators like myself an additional way for subs and viewers like yourself to be able to support the channel, so I can continue to provide high quality content for you.
Listen, as you guys may or may not know, the type of content that I do here on YouTube receives scrutiny and might become demonetized. So Patreon is a fantastic service that I like to use to provide additional benefits for those that sign up for the features that I am offering. Click on the link down in the description box down below and go see all of the things that I'm offering. Everything from behind the scenes to extra content, dozens of hours of content, all right? Now let's move on with this video.
The mantra today is like, man, you can't raise a woman cannot raise a boy. You know, so what is that? Like, I just want to hear from your perspective, like the difference of like your upbringing versus kind of what the information that we're passed with today. Because I mean, I'm looking at, I got this in the chat right here. There's no such thing as a strong, independent woman. You know, and it's just different perspectives as to, you know, the negatives of a woman raising a boy. So I just want to hear if you have a perspective on that.
I think a little bit goes down to experience, right? So I think often, you know, my mother's experience is different. She comes from the deep South. Like, we were just, you know, you look at the pictures, like we're talking about the sticks of Georgia.
Right.
And she grew up with, like, you know, 10 brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? So she's dealing with all boys, and when we're talking about the boys, we're talking about boys. We're not talking about wearing glasses. We're talking about what we're talking. I don't know if we say the N word on here, but you know, it kind of has that.
You can say whatever you want, bro.
Okay, so it's niggas, you know what I mean? Like getting into shit just constantly, and you know, and then there's the other angle where, you know, you have all the women and like the Southern belles, and I think it's an interesting mix, right? So I think there's a part of her that, you know, they grew up in the South, which is typically going to be a little bit more poor. You know, you're going to be a little bit more below the poverty line or whatever. You're going to see some edge. You're going to see you're going to see, like, you're going to be exposed to just how men can be, per se, if that makes sense. And you're kind of down in a lower level. And I think that, you know, she worked her way up and kind of jumped a couple classes, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really, really what is some of the difference. I think oftentimes a lot of people don't transition between those levels. They become single mothers and they kind of stay with where they're at, and they stay within their comfort zone, as opposed to exploring the different avenues. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we grew up around several different. Is that crying? Can you hear the crying in the background?
Yeah, is that Tori?
Yeah, that's Tori acting an ass. But let me go close. But you know, I think that that's really the biggest thing, is at the end of the day, is that she had the exposure to see different classes and different levels of life, and because of that, she's going to have more perspective, and she's going to understand what it's like to fail or see not, you know, to see people not get success, or see people not crawl out and say, no, you don't want to do that because X, Y, and Z. You love your uncle, you know what I'm saying? You see how they are, you know, you love them, and that's fine. But is that what you want for yourself? And being able to kind of have that firsthand experience to see, you know, hood and failure and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And saying, okay, well, I know there's a different way to get out of that. Like, I've seen somebody climb out the hood and make it to this level.
Right.
So I think that's probably my main difference, maybe, is that I've seen her transition. Yeah.
Got it. So it's experience based. You know, and I agree with that as well, because, you know, I mean, so it's like crazy. I was actually thinking about doing a video of this, but I had a situation today where I was about to go to the gym, and I was getting on the bus. And it was a family. It was a girl, a boy. The girl was probably like 10, 11, 12. The boy was probably like 5, 6. And it's an interracial family. So the mother was white and the father was black. At least I'm assuming that the black father was the father, but it looked more real to me that the white mother was the mother of those kids. And they get onto the bus, and they're like looking for their bus passes, and it end up being $2. So then the mother goes to the daughter. I'm like right behind her. Mother goes to the daughter, where's your money? Where's like your dollars or something like that? And the daughter is like looking through her things, and she couldn't find it. And the young boy was sitting there looking at the daughter. And then the mother got frustrated and angry and slapped the shit out of the daughter. Slapped the shit out of her. And I'm standing there looking at her, and I look at who I think is the pops, and he's not even looking at the situation. He saw or heard what happened, but
himself out.
Say it again.
I say he knew what was going on. He's trying to remove himself from out of that position.
Exactly. He's trying to remove himself out of the position. And I mean, and the level of slap, and it wasn't like a spanking on the ass or something like that. It was like it was a slap here, but she popped her like exquisitely hard. Let's just say it like that. So like I'm like looking at the situation like, oh, what the fuck? So I paid a bus pass. So the girl walked to the back of the bus, and of course she's like crying and like snot, and she takes her hand off her eye, and her eye is welted. And yeah, bro. And I go to the back of the bus, and it's like it's taken everything within me not to say anything. Because it's one of those situations where you want to speak up, but if you speak up, you're putting yourself in a situation, and it could be, domestic violence situations is some of the most dangerous that you can get yourself involved with from a third party scenario. So there was a portion of the bus that of the time on my other bus, it's a quick bus ride to get downtown. But I was behind them for the beginning of it, and then I moved up to the front. And when I moved up to the front, I was now facing the daughter, and I'm looking at the daughter, and dog, it hurt my fucking heart, bro. I looked at her, and she was looking directly at me. Her tears were pouring down, and it's almost as if she was saying to me, help me, like where her eyes were. She's probably like 10, 11 years old or something like that. She was, and it brought me back to a situation. So, like, to get back in, I guess, to the original topic of the video, my parents, they got divorced when I was probably like 7-ish, right? So like 7, 8, like somewhere around there. But you gotta think of like, I say often that my pops raised me, but like my cognition didn't start to about 4, right? So that's only like 4 years in the household when my mom is present. But during that time, I remember like my pops has never laid a hand on me, bro. You know that. I've told you that before. He's never laid a hand on me. And my goal, like whenever I have children, if it happens, my goal is to never lay a hand on my kids. Because I was very cognizant as a young child. And the one thing that I remember about my childhood, which, affects me today, is the amount of physical shit that my mother used to do. And it's impacted me today, even today. So I say that to say, when I looked into that young girl's eyes, I was remembering myself in that similar situations, getting popped for frivolous shit. Frivolous shit. So I say that all to say, and also too, the father, who at least I thought was a father, I mean, he was just a black guy that was walking around with him, was ignoring the conversation. And I know that like when I was behind him, like there was someone in the back of the bus kind of making noise, and the black father looked behind and started like laughing at the person who was making noise behind. So it's like, yo, you don't even understand the gravity of the situation. Like y'all are fucking her up. So just in that situation, I chose not to say anything, but it really fucking impacted me. Like as I was on the way to gym, I had to take a second to like think about it for a second. But I say all of that to say, bro, I know I go around from time to time in conversation. I say all that to say that I think that that family is ill experienced. That family is ill experienced, and who's feeling the brunt of that? The daughter, which was visible to me at that fucking time. And then, of course, the son later on. You know what I'm saying? And, notwithstanding black, white, purple, whatever, there's still an experience thing there that I think that you touched on before that I think is very important, that we have to enter into the conversation, because there's black men out there who are raising black boys to not be conductive members of society.